Cora gets a new job and moves into a luxury apartment in Manhattan. Her condo has 13 floors. 5 people are living on the ground floor, and each floor has 2 more people on it compared to the previous one. Which floor calls the elevator the most? Any person who lives on a floor other than the ground floor would have to call the elevator to reach their respective floors. So, the ground floor should call the elevator way more frequently than the other floors.
Oh.
Cora meets her neighbor, Mason. He has 4 daughters, Hannah, Elle, Eve, and Anna. What pattern did he use to name them? His daughters have palindromic names. You can read them from left to right and from right to left, but they'll remain the same.
Oh.
Cora takes the elevator to the 13th floor where she lives. The elevator takes her to the desired floor. She comes out and freaks out right away. Why? Take a look at the mirror. It didn't reflect the number 13 correctly.
Okay.
4 movers show up to help Cora with her boxes, but one of them is an imposter.
Hello.
Can you guess who? The third guy carries the only box that doesn't have Cora's name on it. Also, one of his arms is in a cast. He hid it under his gloves and sleeves, but Cora cannot be tricked so easily. The next day, Cora receives 4 welcome baskets from her neighbors. One of them isn't safe. Can you guess which one? The second basket looks delicious, but take a closer look. There are bugs instead of chocolate in these cookies. Yuck! Cora wants to hire a cleaner to take care of her apartment. She interviews 3 people. Sandra says she has 20 years of experience in this field. Harry is a student who needs extra money to pay his bills and buy food. And Bianca has recently moved from her parents' farm. She needs a job as soon as possible. Who's lying? Harry, take a closer look. He's too transparent to be a real human. Ghosts don't need to pay bills and buy food. Liar.
Oh no.
There's a swimming pool on the roof of Cora's condo. She goes there and meets 3 neighbors in the shower. One of them is not from this planet. Can you guess who? The third lady is a visitor from outer space. She has 7 toes instead of 5. Also, she lacks a belly button. And it seems like the shower steam goes through her body.
Oh god.
Cora comes back home and finds out that someone stole one of her expensive paintings and replaced it with a cheap copy.
What?
How did she know? The third painting has a slightly thinner frame than the others. That's because it's a fake. Cora decides to question her neighbors. She knocks on 2 doors just next to hers. Ashley and Megan live in separate apartments just next to Cora. These 2 ladies have partners, but one of them dates 3 people at once. Can you guess who? Ashley has 3 different cakes in her fridge, so she probably had 3 different guests recently. Cora wants to find the thief who stole her painting, so she calls the police. Officers examine the crime scene and arrest 3 suspects right away. Can you tell who's guilty by just looking at this picture? The thief left footprints of sneakers on the carpet next to the paintings. Only the first suspect has the matching shoes and size. The next morning, Cora goes hiking in the woods, and eventually she gets lost. There are 3 routes that she can take. One has animal footprints, the second one has human footprints, and the third route is along the river. Which path is the most reliable? Cora should choose the third route. Animals might be dangerous and people are not reliable, but the river will lead her to the city or a bigger body of water with a beach. In the evening, Cora goes to the local concert hall. One of these guys is a real magician. Can you guess who? The first guy is hiding a card under his sleeve. The second one makes his card levitate with the help of teeny tiny strings. But the third magician's hat levitates on its own. So he's the real one. Cora is watching an opera set in ancient Egypt, so the actors are dressed in appropriate costumes. After the show, Cora goes backstage to meet them. But one of these people is not an actor. This person is a time traveler from the past. Can you spot the imposter? All 4 people are dressed in ancient Egyptian costumes, so we should use the method of elimination. The first guy is using a smartphone, so he's probably an actor. The second lady has a modern manicure, so let's exclude her too. The fourth lady has a sports car tattoo on her leg, so she must be from this century as well. Therefore, the third guy is the time traveler. Cora arrives at the condo after the opera late at night. She enters the empty lobby and suddenly hears weird sounds from the basement. Cora goes there to check and finds herself in a secret, spooky dungeon. She finds a door with a combination lock which requires a 4-letter password. There is a mirror next to the door. Someone wrote the word "live" on its surface. Cora tries to enter this word, but it doesn't work. Can you help her crack the code? The mirror is part of the clue. Cora should reflect this word, and the password is evil. Finally, Cora opens the door. She sees a secret meeting taking place in a creepy hallway. All participants are dressed in robes and masks. They catch Cora and offer her a deal. If she manages to crack their riddles, she'll become part of the club. But if not, she'll remain locked in the dungeon forever. Here's the riddle. My neighbor makes mistakes. I get rid of them. Who am I? Can you help Cora out? I'm an eraser. Cora nails it, and now she's invited to go into the Hall of Mirrors alone. Cora sees a bunch of fun reflections of herself in the weird mirrors, but suddenly she freaks out and screams. Why is that? One of the reflections doesn't belong to Cora, so she's not alone in this room. Cora enters the next room and gets trapped in a spooky, abandoned public shower. She needs to choose one of these 3 doors to get out. There's a bunch of hungry rats behind the first door. There's an unknown glowing substance behind the second door. It may or may not be toxic. And there's a firewall behind the third door. Which way is more or less safe? Cora should choose the third door. Look around. She's in the shower, remember? She can use a bucket and water to put out the fire. Now Cora needs to crack this twisted circle maze to find the way out. Can you help her? Here's the correct route. Cora enters the next room and finds herself in a huge, chic dining room. There are 3 figures in robes and masks staring at her.
What?
But one of them is just a statue. Can you guess who? The first figure is breathing deeply. The second is blinking. You can see it through the mask. So the third figure must be the statue.
Oh God.
People in masks give Cora 3 envelopes. She can choose one of them and take what's inside as a gift. One of them contains a $100 million diamond necklace. Another one, a pair of wool socks. And the third one, $10,000 in cash. Each envelope is signed. The first one says, "Necklace isn't here." The second one says, "Necklace is here." And the third one says, "Necklace might be here." Can you help Cora make the right choice? She should ignore the writings and simply weigh the envelopes. The desired one should be much heavier than the others.
Oh yes.
Cora gets her necklace. The secret club members take off their robes and masks and turn on the lights. Cora recognizes her neighbors. That was just a welcoming prank. But still, something is odd here. Can you guess what? The lamp levitates.
Oh my God.
3 wealthy businessmen complained to Detective Brooke. This week, an unknown criminal stole a car from each of them, and he left no traces. But Brooke figured out his pattern. She thinks the thief will soon commit new crimes. Mike, Colin, and Bill are at risk because they own very expensive cars. Whose car will the thief steal tonight? If you already know the answer, make sure to share it in the comments. Let's take a closer look at the order of the thefts. The colors of the cars match the colors of the rainbow: red, orange, and yellow. So Colin's green car will be the next target. Detective Brooke finds the criminal's garage and begins rummaging around. He has a secret door protected by a combination lock. There's a note with 4 images next to the door. Brooke thinks for a while, presses 4 numbers, and opens the door. What numbers did she press? If you nailed it right away, please let us know. The code is 2731. Each digit corresponds to the number of colors of the object in the picture. Brooke enters the secret room and sees 6 rings on the table. Try to memorize all the details, because you're going to need them later. Okay, now, can you find the rings that were not present in the original picture? Make sure to share your answer. Rings A, C, and F don't belong here. After a long day of work, Brooke is starving. She wants to grab something sweet, so she goes to the candy shop. Brooke has 3 options to choose from: cotton candy, a candy cane, or a candy apple. Which food is dangerous? Let us know in the comments. Take a closer look at the cotton candy. There's a tiny spider stuck inside. Yikes! As for the apple, it has a little worm inside. So Brooke should definitely buy the candy cane. Brooke is passing by the food court and spots 2 families. One of them is super rich, while the other one very broke. Can you guess who is who? Think carefully and feel free to leave your answer in the comment section below. Take a look at the second family. They don't eat this rotten food. The son is just taking pictures. Meanwhile, the first family shares one pizza and drinks water, which is usually free. And the mother's phone looks very outdated. Therefore, the super rich family is on the right. Brooke walks up to the diner and sees 6 different burgers in the window. Try to memorize them. You're going to need the details later. Now, let's take a look at the 9 images. Which of these burgers didn't appear in the initial picture? Give this video a thumbs up if you already know the answer. Burgers B, D, and E are all new. The next day, Detective Brooke receives a new mysterious case. Someone attacked Larry, the HR manager of a large international company. It happened about an hour ago. Brooke finds 3 suspects. The first one is Lily. She's an applicant who was a bit angry with Larry because he made her wait for ages. Lily stayed outside in the rain and probably caught a cold, but she says she didn't attack him. Kyle, the company's marketing director, attended meetings from early morning until lunchtime, so he claims he didn't see Larry at all. Jeff from the IT department tells Brooke that he rode his bike to a coffee shop to get his cappuccino. He returned just now. Who's the attacker? Hurry up to be the first to comment. Jeff. Both his bike and his clothes are dry and clean. How is that possible if it's raining? Jeff runs away. Detective Brooke starts chasing him. She ends up in a dusty basement. There are 3 tunnels leading outside. The first one is guarded by an invisible monster. This creature attacks anyone who dares to enter. The second tunnel is half flooded with poisoned water. Drinking it is fatal for any human. And the third tunnel is infested with mutant cockroaches. They can fly and bite people. Which way is more or less safe? Give this video a thumbs up if you already know the answer. She should choose the second tunnel. The water's only dangerous if you drink it, so Brooke can just walk through the tunnel with her mouth closed and be safe. The next morning, Detective Brooke enjoys a day off at the beach. Suddenly, she hears a quarrel taking place nearby. This lady claims that someone has stolen her phone. Brooke spots the thief right away. Can you spot them? This blonde lady stole her phone. She's taking selfies with her own phone, but there's another one hidden in her swimsuit. Busted! Hit the like button if you managed to crack this riddle. Brooke spots 6 parrots on a tree and takes a picture. She visits the bathroom and then returns to the same tree. Can you find the parrots that were not present in her picture? Parrots A, E, and F arrived just now. Was it difficult? Let us know in the comments. Detective Brooke receives an emergency call from work. There's a dangerous visitor from another planet hanging out at the beach. It can look like a human, so Brooke should be very careful. Can you help her spot anything suspicious? Don't forget to share your thoughts. This volleyball player has too many arms for a regular human. Detective Brooke is working on her laptop in a coffee shop. Oops, it's time to visit the bathroom. Brooke decides it's safe enough to leave her stuff unattended. But after going to the bathroom, she finds out that her backpack and her laptop are missing. Brooke runs outside and sees 3 elderly ladies with picnic baskets sitting in the park. She interrogates them, but the ladies swear they didn't notice anything suspicious. Miss Anderson has just joined her friends. Miss Smith is eating her sandwich and reading a newspaper, and Miss Gold is taking pictures of squirrels. But still, Detective Brooke arrests one of the ladies. Can you guess who? Hurry up to be the first to comment. Brooke's backpack was red, remember? There's a red strap hanging out of Miss Anderson's picnic basket. Ooh, busted. Detective Brooke comes across a poster with 6 animals: a cat, a camel, a cheetah, a chicken, a crocodile, and a pig. Which animal doesn't belong here? The pig. It's the only animal whose name doesn't start with the letter C. But if you have a different answer, let us know. Brooke receives a call from her best friend, Amanda. She suspects that her boyfriend, Will, has a secret from her. Amanda wants to access his laptop to investigate, but she doesn't know his password. Luckily, there's a hint note right on his desk. It says Apple, Man, and Dawn. Give this video a thumbs up if you crack this code. And the password is Amanda. Yep, her name is the code. Aww. Will was just preparing a surprise for Amanda's birthday. He took her on a romantic helicopter trip. But unfortunately, their vehicle broke down in the air, and they had to land on a tiny uninhabited island. The guys can't call for help. Their cell phones and radio don't work. There are no trees on the island, only sand and rocks around them, so they can't make a smoke signal. Suddenly, Amanda notices a plane circling the sky, but unfortunately, it's flying too high and the pilot can't see them. Will comes up with a bright idea, and soon after, the plane picks them up. What did they do? Think carefully and share your ideas. They use rocks to spell out SOS on the sand. The plane takes Amanda and Will to the mainland, and now they need to take a bus to get home. Only one of these 4 buses will take them to their final destination. Can you guess which one? It's the second bus. Hit the like button if you nailed it. And if you want to train your thinking on a daily basis, don't forget to subscribe.
On an overnight train in Budapest, Mrs. Celine got robbed. She is a very wealthy heiress, and she inherited a diamond necklace from her great-grandmother, which was the exact piece of jewelry that was robbed. She called the inspector to solve the crime. After interviewing most of the passengers on board the train, the inspector narrowed it down to 3 suspects. Mr. Bruges was an eccentric widower, carrying a mysterious bag. Mr. Blue was one of the waiters on the train, carrying his metallic tray around. And Mr. Pearls was a hoarder, carrying lots of suitcases. Take a look at the images and give it your best shot at solving this crime. Mr. Bruges is just trying to keep his cat safe inside his mysterious bag. He's no criminal. Mr. Pearls is sweating like that because he's carrying all his valuable belongings, so he's really afraid to be robbed. This leaves us Mr. Blue, the true culprit. If you look attentively, he has a diamond necklace poking out from under his metallic tray. The airport police are having a lot of trouble these days. Many convicts escape prison and are trying to leave the country as fast as they can. Take a look at this image. You gotta figure out ASAP who is the fugitive. It's the lady on the right. Although the woman in the wanted poster is blonde, she must have dyed her hair brown to get through security. But her lips and freckles are exactly the same as in the picture. Tess, Ivy, and Monica are in a pretty bad financial rut. They walked into a local supermarket planning on stealing something. What they didn't know was that there was a police officer watching the cameras at the store. Can you figure out who just stole some chips? It was Tess, the first lady. Sure, Ivy is sweating a lot, but she didn't take anything. But look at Tess's hair. She's hiding some chips in that ponytail. For this year's Super Bowl, Taylor decided to invite some friends over to her place. Her house was packed with some of her closest friends. But some random people also crashed the party. Out of nowhere, her friend Jackie screamed she saw a thief amongst them. Someone had stolen her golden bracelet. Take a look at the footage from the party. Sherlock, can you spot the thief? You sure have a good eye if you spot the thief in the middle of the crowd. He was really swift in sneaking behind that woman and stealing her bracelet. Way to go, you! John started his Sunday morning by jogging around the park near his house. When he returned, he found out very unpleasant news. Someone had stolen his car. He questioned 3 of his neighbors. Henry said he had been playing video games for the past 12 hours and hadn't left his basement during all that time. Rosie said she was a gardener and had been planting daisies in the public area all morning. She also said she saw a suspicious man who opened John's car using a knife. Jack said he had seen John's car when he went out for groceries, but when he returned home, it was gone. After listening to the suspects, John immediately knew who had done it. Can you tell who it was? It was Rosie. She said she'd been planting daisies, but look, there are only rose bushes in this area. Bernard is the owner of a meat shop downtown. He sells really expensive meat. As soon as he opened his shop, he had a rush of customers coming in to buy their daily meat. During the rush, he was so busy attending to the customers that he didn't see that someone stole the bacon. Who's the thief here? It's the guy in the suit. The dog is smelling his bag like there's some bacon inside it. He's definitely it. Jane was playing a video game when she was swallowed by the game. The next thing she knows, she's facing 3 mischievous robots. One of them stole her game controller, so she can't go back to her own reality. You gotta help Jane figure out which robot stole her controller. So far, you know that Robot A said, "B is the thief," and that the real thief always tells the truth. Can you solve this mystery with such little information? Robot C is the culprit. Let's check it out really quickly. If A was telling the truth, then it would be the thief. But it's impossible because A claims that B is the thief. B is also not the thief, since A's claim that B is the thief is a lie. This just leaves us with the last option, Robot C. Betty was traveling across France. One night, she gave herself a treat by booking a table at an expensive restaurant. She was halfway through dinner when an elderly woman approached her. The woman said she looked a lot like her daughter and asked her for a favor. Since she hadn't spoken to her daughter for ages, she asked Betty to say, "Goodbye, Mother," as she left the restaurant. Betty thought it was super strange, but agreed. Soon after, she received the shock of her life. Guess what it was and share your 2 cents with us below. Betty was surprised with the bill which belonged to the elderly woman. She had asked the waiter to collect the bill from her daughter. Uh-oh, Betty. Can't believe you fell for that. Anna sat down to watch her favorite TV show. She made some popcorn, turned on the TV, and nestled comfortably to binge-watch an entire season. Her cat Pepper sat down next to her. But after 5 minutes of screen time, Anna suddenly passed out. Take a look at the image. Can you guess what happened there? Anna's cat, Pepper, got scared with a loud thump that came from the TV. It jumped on top of Anna and it scared the life out of her. That's why she passed out. The customer was saying that he had ordered soup, while the waiter was saying that he had only ordered tea. Henry saw something that immediately showed him who was lying. Prove to us that you've got the sharpest eye and find out what Henry saw. The customer is the one who's lying. Behind him, there's a huge sign that says the restaurant only serves soup from 1 to 4 p.m. Since it was 8 p.m. in the evening, the waiter would have never accepted the customer's order in the first place. It was a lovely spring morning, so Margaret decided to take her kids to the park for some fresh air. While the kids played in the grass, Margaret decided to catch up on her reading. She left her bag right beside her, next to a stranger. In a few minutes, she noticed the bag was stolen. We need your detective skills here. Can you figure out who the thief was? The person came out from the bush behind the bench where Margaret was seated. He was so quick it was nearly impossible to see him. Yikes! Robbie was invited to a typical college party. A lot of his friends were there, but there were also some random people. Out of nowhere, the lights went dark, and before he knew it, Robbie was waking up with a vampire bite on his neck. Take a look at some footage from the beginning of the party. Who's a vampire here? It's the guy on the corner. Look at the mirror. He has no reflection. He must be the vampire.
Now, Tim and Monica were celebrating their 4th year together when Tim popped the question. Bobby and Olivia got engaged a year ago and were also planning the details of their wedding. Take a look at both couples a few seconds before they say "I do." Who do you think will probably get divorced? Let's take a closer look. It's probably going to be Tim and Monica. If you look closely, Monica has a tattoo on her arm. And look at that guy on the second row of her wedding. He has the same matching tattoo as her. Plus, look at his face. He is definitely not happy to see her getting married. Liam was on a date with Sarah, his college sweetheart, when her sisters, Jessica and Jackie, decided to show up to play a prank on them. The girls paired up and said they wanted Liam to order them a dessert. Liam needed to impress the girls. He knows that Sarah is on a diet, so she doesn't eat fat or flour products. Jessica has a sore throat, and Jackie is a vegan and allergic to citrus. Take a look at the dessert options at the restaurant. Help Liam pick the best dessert for each girl. The ice cream is out of the picture. He should get the citrus smoothie to Sarah, the cake to Jessica, and the fruit salad to Jackie. Mary is almost 30 years old and she's been single for a pretty long time. Let me guess, 30 years? She decided it was time to find herself a boyfriend, and so she made a profile on a dating app. She got interested in 3 different guys: John, Arthur, and Henry. John says he loves surfing and going shopping every single week. Arthur has his own wine collection and loves to cycle on the weekends. Henry is a baker who loves doing ceramics. Can you figure out which one of them is a maniac? Well, this sure wasn't obvious, but it's John. Look at his pictures. He says he goes shopping every week, but he's wearing the exact same clothes in all of his pictures. That's just too weird. Cleo just moved to New York to start a degree in fashion. The first week of graduate school is filled with networking events, where she meets a bunch of new people. 2 guys asked her out on a date that night. Brad tried to impress her, saying he had tickets to the Met Gala the next weekend, and invited her to tag along. Harry said that his company gave him 2 Taylor Swift tickets and invited her to come with him. One of them is lying big time. Can you guess who? Brad is lying. Look at that flyer behind Cleo. It says that the Met Gala was canceled that year. Brad was probably just too desperate to impress Cleo. Blake received an anonymous text message saying that his girlfriend was cheating on him in the office next door to him. He abandoned everything he was doing and ran over to see if he would catch her cheating. When he got there, he could only see Sarah, his girlfriend, and a bunch of other girls. Can you spot who is Sarah's lover amongst these people? Most of them are girls, but there's a guy hidden right in the middle. Look at the Adam's apple and fake hair. That must be him. Barbara is a successful influencer, and she's living her best life in Los Angeles. One day, out of the blue, she got a love letter from one of her high school friends. The letter said how much this person has always admired Barbara and dreamt of dating her. But the thing is, the letter wasn't signed, so she has no idea who had written it. Take a look at these pictures. Can you guess which one of these people is in love with Barbara? Well, let's see. Ben, her high school best friend, is probably dating someone since he's wearing half of a heart-shaped necklace. Rob, her childhood neighbor, is scrolling through a dating app, so it's probably not him as well. It was the last guy, John. He sat behind her in most of their classes together, and if you look closely, his hands are dirty with green ink, the same ink that he wrote the letter with. Brady decided to surprise his wife with an anniversary trip. He booked them a week in Rome, and his wife was thrilled about it. One morning, they went to visit the Coliseum, but the line was so big that they got lost from each other. Take a look at the image. Can you spot Brady's wife? Brady's wife is that woman wearing the same yellow t-shirt that Brady is wearing, which says, USA loves Italy. They bought it the day before. Jenna went through a terrible breakup recently. She spent months crying because her ex-boyfriend got a new girlfriend. So her friends decided to cheer her up. They set her up on a blind date with a guy named Jonas. She arrived at the restaurant around 8 p.m. It was pouring rain outside. As soon as she arrived, she spotted 3 single guys waiting at different tables. Take a look at the picture. Can you guess who Jonas is? It's the guy on the right. The first guy is waiting for the check, which means he already ate. The second guy is waiting for some lady to come back from the bathroom. The third guy has a wet umbrella next to his table, which means he probably also arrived when it was raining. Plus, he's holding his phone in his hands, probably waiting for a text. That must be Jonas. Good luck, guy. Jen and Hannah are best friends. They've both been dating their boyfriends for over 3 years. They often get together and daydream about what their perfect proposals would look like. One day, something almost magical happened. While Jen's boyfriend proposed to her during a romantic dinner, Hannah's boyfriend proposed on their weekend away. Take a look at both of these pictures. Can you tell which proposal is fake? Uh-oh. It looks like Hannah's proposal is a fake. Look at her boyfriend's finger. He's got another ring there. Bethany and Fred started dating recently. Bethany's birthday was coming up, and she asked Fred to take her to see a concert with her favorite band. Fred got nervous because he had no idea who her favorite band was. When he asked her what band that was, Bethany sent him a text message with a couple of emojis. Take a look at the text. Can you figure out the name of the band? Ah, the band is Coldplay. Amelia moved back to her hometown after a few years abroad. She hadn't seen her friends in a long time. They invited her for a welcome back party. They danced and laughed all night. What she didn't know was that her friends were planning on playing a prank on her. They shut down the lights and switched her expensive fancy necklace with a fake one from a cheap jewelry store. When the lights were turned back on, they asked her to figure out who took her necklace, and they joked they would only give it back if she could guess correctly. Take a look at the image. Can you help Amelia? It was the guy and the girl dancing on the left corner. Take a close look at the guy's pocket. It has something in the shape of a necklace in there. Plus, the girl is trying to hide it with her hand, but she kinda gave it away. Rue and her husband traveled to the Caribbean for their honeymoon. As soon as they arrived at their hotel, they realized it was nothing like the pictures. The place looked like a haunted mansion. Take a look at the pictures of the rooms. Which room should they choose to stay in? The first room has some insanely big spider webs. If you look closely, there are some ghosts hovering just outside the window of this second room. The third room has some flickering lights, but it looks like the safest of them all. Hey, good luck with that.